Welcome back for another video. Team selection and transfer plans for Game Week 5, and let us know in the comments, how did you get on in the return of FPL after the break? In this one we're going to talk about everything we learned to take forward with our teams as well, and then as I say, my transfer plans and all the rest. Arsenal 3, Forest 0. Gyökeres back on the score sheet after there's a brilliant left-footed assist from Eze, basically drilling the ball across the box for a tap-in. It was Zubimendi though that stole this show with a world-class volley outside the box for his first goal, and then he bagged a second for a brace. 16-pointer. Did any of you have him in your teams? Be honest in the comments. And he's only 2.1% owned overall, so I'm guessing maybe a few of you have him. Man City and Newcastle next, so no rush to buy him. And obviously don't forget, he's a defensive midfielder. Well, that's probably the biggest score he's going to register all season. And that was his first goal he's ever scored in his career outside the box. Arsenal have got a really big fixture swing in Game Week 7, which is where I'm looking to bolster my team with Arsenal assets. In hindsight, big regrets going no Arsenal from Game Week 1. I remember sharing a graphic in pre-season that had Arsenal top for projected clean sheets in the opening 5 game weeks, and they've literally conceded just the one goal. One goal conceded, that was against Liverpool. 3 clean sheets already. By far the best defence in the league, and I think double defence is where I'd like to end up with my team. Obviously the caveat if you do that and you've got Gyökeres like I do is you're blocking some other third Arsenal asset like Saka. Gabriel with a late blocked shot which clinched him exactly 10 defensive contributions, and he crept into bonus as well for a 9-pointer. So Merino, Zubimendi and Ødegaard started in midfield with Rice benched. Ødegaard went off injured, but just a fun fact, those three, Merino, Zubimendi and Ødegaard, have actually all started together before. Back in 2019-20 when they were at Real Sociedad together. So that was Ange's first game for Forest, and off to a pretty rough start. They actually registered a lower XG than they did under any game under Nuno. Bournemouth 2, Brighton 1. Semenyo's form continues with an assist and then followed by a goal which came from the penalty spot. It's worth noting that Kluivert wasn't on the pitch at the time. He took all the penalties last season, he's got a great record. But we did learn that at worst, Semenyo is second on penalty duties ahead of Evan Nilsson. He's just becoming too good to ignore as an FPL asset. He only had the one shot outside of that penalty to play devil's advocate, so a little bit fortunate to get such a big haul. And the assist was a pass to Scott outside the box as well, which was something like 0.05 expected assist. But make no mistake, he's their main man. He's pivotal to everything they're doing right now overall. It was Matoma that scored Brighton's only goal, which was a really nice cross, assisted by Mente. Rutter started for Brighton as well. Aston Villa failed to score in their opening 4 league games of a season for the first time in their history. Truly shocking. And the funny part is Watkins was scoring for fun in pre-season, some of you might remember, and those were against some really decent teams as well. I mean, honestly, they were lucky to get a point as well out of this game. 2.08 expected goals conceded. That was the highest across all of Saturday's games, so Everton will feel like they should have won that. And of course the curse of the most transferred player is just too powerful. Well over 1 million managers bought Grealish, who inevitably blanked. And Tarkowski also inevitable, he hit DEFCON points once again. He did so in 66% of his games last season, and after 4 games he's done it 100% of the time so far this season, which is mad. Obviously they've got Liverpool next at Anfield, so I wouldn't rush to buy him before that, but from Game Week 6 they've got West Ham and Palace, both home games back to back. That looks better. Tielemans started, he was taken off at half time, which is a bit concerning. Villa just really not in a good spot right now, and they've got Europa League about to start as well. Those of you that have got Rodgers and Watkins, what's your plan? I'm one of those, so let me know what you're planning to do. They've got Sunderland next, so logic says just hold on to them one more game. They can't go goalless forever, surely. So looking a bit ahead, which teams have got the best upcoming fixtures? I've used the Focal app here, or go to fpl.page to access it from your browser. It's free, the fixture ticker, and loads of other free tools on there. Now Wolves have had a really rough start to this season, but they're actually top of the ticker. It's just such a shame Strand Larsen has been injured. If he's back soon, he's genuinely still a really good option. Game Week 1 they had Man City, Game Week 2 they went down to 10 men, and then he's been injured, so I wouldn't rule him out as a good option just yet. And if he is back soon, I genuinely think he's a great option, even if it's a bit later from Game Week 7, because they've got Brighton, Sunderland, Burnley and Fulham there. So Spurs are second on the ticker. Xavi Simons could be an interesting one. Richarlison was benched last match, so avoid him. I mean, Kudus could be an option as well there. Or if you want to go for the defence, Romero, Van der Ven look great. Porro, I don't know if he's worth the extra 0.5 over Romero. Certainly not the 1 million over Van der Ven right now. If you're wildcarding in the near future, then Rodon or Gudmundsson look great for 4 mil. Or you could go Reinildo from Sunderland, who are also up there on the ticker. I've been considering a Game Week 8 bench boost for my team. Like, Leeds and Burnley face one another that week, so that gives you Dubravka and then the choice of any 4 mil defender from either sides. Though if I do that, it'd probably be a Game Week 6 wildcard, so a little bit of a gap between the wildcard and the bench boost. I'll talk more about that later when I talk about my team. But we've got Newcastle up there on the ticker as well, so let's talk about Newcastle's game. A 1-0 win over Wolves for Newcastle, which saw Walter Marder making his debut and scoring a header and clinched all 3 bonus points. Walter Marder just became the 3rd German to score on his Premier League debut after Jurgen Klinsmann in 1994 and then Ilkay Gundogan in September 2016. Elanga benched for the 2nd game in a row for Newcastle, and it was Murphy that got the assist for Walter Marder, so he's a definite seller if you've got him. Very unlucky if you picked him up on the free hit. Only 0.5 expected goals conceded by Newcastle. Their defence has been really good. 3 clean sheets over the first 4 games, same as Arsenal in fact. I'm not sure if share is going to be worth the 0.5 mil over Bernard Livramento over the season, so I'd probably go for one of the 5 mil defenders if you're looking to buy into their defence. But should we buy Walter Marder though? Well, I'm still erring on the side of caution personally. I think he's 7.5 mil, which is a little bit pricey. But then on the other hand, Viss is out injured for 4 to 5 weeks reportedly. On the other hand, I just think I prefer João Pedro, Haaland, obviously very different price points, Gyökeres, Evan Nilsson. I think all of those I'd rather have right now. And of course, if you've got Wood, then you've got to keep him for those next 2 fixtures. Burnley showcased a really disciplined, organised performance, and you can't help but feel for them to lose in such a brutal way. It was a Frimpong cross in the 93rd minute, which hit Hannibal's outstretched arm for a penalty, and of course, who else but Salah steps up and Salah buries it. All 3 of his returns this season have come in stoppage time, which is pretty mad. It was a stressful watch for those of us that had him captain to leave it so late again. I should mention actually just on that, they changed how bonus points work from this season, where penalties basically earn you less bonus points, and as a result, Salah got 1 bonus point from that game rather than what would have been 3 bonus points in any past season. So although I had him captain and it meant some fewer points there, I actually think overall that was a good change. It's great to get those late points, but yeah, Salah really has looked poor overall this season, and I think making the switch to Haaland Game Week 6 feels easier and easier by the game week, I have to say. Of course, Salah's got Everton home next, and I'll probably end up captaining him despite what I've just said, for lack of better alternatives. And then to finish the game week, Man City dominated Man United in the derby at the Etihad. A 3-0 win and a clean sheet on his debut for Donnarumma. Haaland with a brace as well, 13-pointer or 26 if you captained him. Well played if that was you. He honestly should have had more than the brace as well. Like at one point he hit the post and it looked like it was harder to miss than score from that moment. Foden started the game as well. It's been a while since we've seen him starting for City, it feels like. And it'd been something like 11 games since he'd last scored. And he scored a brilliant header early on to open proceedings. Doku assisted that one, and he also assisted one of Haaland's. The question is, which Man City assets from Game Week 6 do we go for besides Haaland? I mean, you don't have to get Haaland, of course, but this is kind of where I'm at. Like, Reinders was amazing in Game Week 1, but he's got no returns since. That said, he's cheap, obviously, and he really should have scored in the derby as well. Like, he did miss a big chance, so I'm not opposed to just keeping hold of him, given he's cheaper. And then there's obviously the likes of Doku and Foden, who look more threatening, more goal threat, but are they completely nailed? And then, of course, there's Rodri, who probably is nailed, and he's got lots of DEFCON potential. Aït-Nouri, of course, looked great Game Week 1, but he missed out injured, so he's got to be a swerve. Maybe Vardy was the one. He returned from injury and started this match, or maybe Donnarumma. Anyway, they've got Arsenal next, so let's just see how that goes in Game Week 5. That's where I'm currently at with Man City assets. I mean, there's no immediate rush to buy Haaland for me. I think I'll buy him Game Week 6. So Liverpool, in fairness, did finish the game week as the top team for expected goals with 2.45 against Burnley, and Burnley only managed 0.13 against them. Everton's 2.08 XG was second most against Villa, and then Man City with 1.88 against Man United. 1.1 of that was Haaland. Arsenal only conceded 0.2 expected goals against Forest, and more of what we've come to expect from them, especially at the Emirates. As far as individual players, Murphy and Haaland were the joint top players for expected goal involvement, both with 1.1 each. Salah with 0.94 xG, but of course that was entirely the penalty pretty much. As you can see, in terms of non-penalty xG, it was literally 0.0 for Salah. That was his only shot of the entire game. Use the link below to become a Scout member and get a 40% discount, plus you can get access to all my data tables and the other benefits. In other news, West Ham's 3 defeats in the Premier League this season have all been by 3+ goal margins, and gameweek 4 is the joint earliest that a side has lost as many as 3 games by that margin in Premier League history. The other team that have done it was Bournemouth in 2022. Van der Ven's scoring, keeping the clean sheet, and Romero with an assist as well, both getting double-digit returns. Xavi got an assist on his debut as well and took some set pieces. Chelsea had to rotate a few players and it cost them. Palmer did make the bench and he did come on, scored minutes after coming on in fact. Cucurella and James also among those named on the bench. A very jammy assist from João Pedro, especially as a non-owner. In fairness, he did get into a good area, but it was a defensive header that deflected off him and that teed up Palmer. And João Pedro's got 3 assists from, I think it's 0.2 expected assists in total over the whole season. He ended up getting 2 bonus for it as well. He's been directly involved in 5 goals in 4 Premier League games for Chelsea. That's 2 goals, 3 assists. The only player to reach 5 goal involvements in fewer games for the Blues in the competition is Hazard, who did it in 3 games. Carvalho's equaliser against them was the 7th goal that Brentford have scored from a throw-in in the Premier League since the start of last season. That's at least 5 more than any other side in that period. Anderson kept a clean sheet against Leeds, plus he got defensive contributions and bonus for a 10-pointer. Palace versus Sunderland ended up in a 0-0 draw, goalless game there, so a 2-pointer for Mateta, but clean sheet points for the very popular Palace defenders last game week. So, an early look at my team and transfer plans for gameweek 5. It's Sanchez in goal, Anderson, Pedro Porro and Murillo in defence, Salah, Gakpo, Bruno, Rodgers and Reinders in midfield, and then it's Gyökeres and Watkins up front. So it's Dubravka, Romero, Esteve and Gu benched. I'm going to wait and see what the Murillo news is, who came off injured against Arsenal. I'm hoping that he's alright because it's a nice fixture. I do at least have Romero for depth if needed there. It's going to be Salah captain again, and this could be the last week that I own Salah for a while. Despite having 2 free transfers and things that I could potentially spend them on here, I want to take a patient approach still and hopefully get more with the transfers later, and therefore I'm planning to roll the transfer, which tees me up to 3 free transfers in gameweek 6, and I could spend all of them, or I could wildcard and just carry the 3 transfers over. So the 3 potential transfers in gameweek 6 would be Watkins to Haaland, he's got Burnley home, Salah to Palmer, Palmer's got Brighton home in gameweek 6, I think he might have scored 4 goals against them in the same fixture last season, wasn't it? And then it'd be Gakpo to a 6.5 mil mid like Ndiaye. Well, there's also the option to sell Rodgers instead for someone slightly cheaper like Paquetá if I want to keep Gakpo. Or as I say, I could just activate the wild card and then plan for the bench boost as well and get 2 chips out of the way. That's probably not the right thing to say, get the wild card out of the way. It's the most powerful chip, so you do have to plan it, but it's an opportunity certainly to prepare for the bench boost. And generally the 2 chips do go hand in hand, most often anyway, so I might wildcard and then bench boost in either gameweek 7 or 8. It'd definitely be one of those 2 if I wildcard. I actually like gameweek 8 slightly more because you've got Thiago as an option as a 3rd forward, he's got West Ham, or you've got Strand Larsen, he's got Sunderland, whereas those 2 the week before have got weaker fixtures. Plus in gameweek 8, Burnley and Leeds face one another, so Dubravka works well in there as well with Leeds home, and you could potentially bench boost a former defender like Esteve, Rodon or Gummison along with Dubravka. The thing I don't like about the bench boost is sometimes it can make you leave more money in your bench than you want to longer term, whereas if you go for the gameweek 8 bench boost, then you can afford 2 formal assets that are bench boostable, which is perfect. So you're not spending anything on your bench with those 2. Lots to think about. I'm not locked in either way yet, but the plan is to roll for gameweek 5 and then I'll assess after that. If you enjoyed this video, do hit subscribe if you're not already. There's lots of great content planned for the week ahead. See you soon for the next one.